Goodnight Moon, that's right. Alright, are we ready? Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. In the great green room, there was a telephone, and a red balloon, and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens, 1, 2, and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse. Where's the mouse? Mouse. And a comb, and a brush, and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady who was whispering. Well, the lady's whispering. Goodnight room. Goodnight moon. Goodnight cow jumping over the moon. Goodnight light and the red balloon. Goodnight bears. Goodnight chairs. Goodnight kitten. Meow. And goodnight mittens. Turn the page. Goodnight clock. And goodnight sock. Goodnight little house. And goodnight mouse. Turn the page. Goodnight comb. And goodnight brush. Goodnight nobody. Goodnight mush. And goodnight to the old lady whispering. Goodnight star. Goodnight air. Goodnight noises everywhere. The end.